Hey guys, so today I'm going to be filming another Arctic Char YouTube video. I posted one about a month ago and it was pretty fun. I recorded everything I did that day. I ended up catching my PB Char, which was really cool. So it seems like TikTok might be getting banned. That's where I've been posting all my videos the last few years. So today I'm going to be doing another Arctic Char video. I'm going to be adding in some tips and tricks on how to catch char through the ice. And I'm gonna fish for a few hours, try a couple different spots, see what I can catch. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe because I'm probably gonna be doing more YouTube videos on ice fishing for Arctic char from now on. So, all right guys, so unfortunately my camera had some audio issues and it didn't record any audio for like the first 10 clips that I recorded. So the intro I recorded and a few other videos I was not able to use at all. So that was me drilling the holes. This is me kind of explaining about where I'm fishing. Basically, I'm just fishing on a bank with a really steep drop off. And then this was the first fish I caught, which again, there's just no audio. So anyways, my jaw jacker behind me is in about 10 feet. I'm jigging in 16 feet. So if that gives you an idea of how steep of a drop off that bank is. I hooked this fish. I was probably only there for maybe 30 minutes. I had one mark show up. I hooked into it. So this is the first char of the day right here. Wasn't a huge fish, but it was a pretty one. Had a little bit of colors to it. So you'll see it here in just a second. And there we go. That is the first char of the day right there. Caught it on a little small tube jig. Is actually a pretty fish, so not a bad start to the day. And after this, I was able to fix my audio issues, so we'll be able to get back to the normal video audio, but that was the first fish of the day right there. So on my other char video that I posted, somebody left a comment saying that I should make like a char fishing tips and tricks video. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna just give some basic tips, like when fishermen around here ask me, you know, some advice on how to catch char, because they're really difficult fish to catch in these lakes here. There's usually some basic pointers that I give them. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the rundown basically. So char obviously are not a common fish to find. They're in very few lakes in America. I'm lucky enough to live really close to what I think is one of the best char fishing lakes that there is. One important thing to know about char is they're supposed to be a sea-run fish. So they can, you know, they live out in the salt water and then they run up the rivers to spawn. That's how char are supposed to be. But in this lake here, they're actually landlocked. So they don't run out to sea. They're just in the lake year-round. That's not how they're supposed to be, but there's a lot of lakes that have landlocked char. Some of them are native, some of them can be stocked, but these are native landlocked char in this lake. They don't grow nearly as big as the sea-run fish do. They get slightly different colors. They don't get the crazy hooked jaw like the big males do from the ocean, but they can still be pretty big. So in these lakes here, what most people are going for is a 30-incher. It is not common at all to catch a 30-incher. Usually a big fish is like anything above 25. So earlier this winter, I did have the pleasure of seeing a 31-inch Arctic char, which again is not common at all. So it was really cool. My buddy Kane caught it. He was fishing really close to us, maybe 100 yards away. He called me on the phone, said he had a 30-incher on, and I was like, okay. So I believed him, but I couldn't believe it because I've never seen a 30-incher. So I threw the measuring board in and we drove over there, and sure enough, it was 31 inches. So they are in here. I've heard of a few people catching them, but that's kind of the goal for everyone that fishes these lakes, catching a 30-incher. I would say that the biggest tip that I can give for catching char is just to go out and do it and fish over and over and over and keep track of everything every time you fish. So I have a section of notes in my phone, and every single day that I go char fishing, I have like probably 10 different things that I keep track of, data. So I write the date, I write what I caught, whether I caught char or not, how many char I caught, and then I have like the depth I caught them at, the type of structure, the barometric pressure that day. The moon cycle is really important. Weather, whether it was rainy or windy or clear skies, pretty much anything I can think of, what lure I caught them on. I have all these things listed out. I'll actually just pop up a screenshot of one of my entries. So I'll pop that up right now so you can kind of see all the different things. And I have dozens of entries like that. And then I can go back and look at that and just kind of study it, you know, and like say I'm getting ready to go fishing and I check and like the barometric pressure is really high. What I'll do is I'll go back and I'll look over all of those entries and I'll look at any entry where the pressure was high and see where I've caught fish the most. So that's something that's really important. I will say generally for the char out here, the best fishing conditions is low pressure when it's cloudy or preferably even a little bit stormy, and then full moon. Hands down, full moon makes fish way more active. If the moon is full, usually what I see is as soon as I mark a fish on my sonar, they just fly up and hit my jig immediately. If the moon is really low, if it's like a new moon, it's a lot harder to get them to bite. So if you're able to plan your days, plan on fishing around a full moon, low pressure if you can. And then as you can see on my sonar here, I'm in 16 feet, jigging around 10. I like to jig pretty high off the bottom when I'm char fishing. I've learned that it's way better to only keep your lure above the fish. So if you do have a char show up on the sonar, what you never want to do is if you have a char come up, they're really closely related to lake trout. So people, you know, like to kind of like raise up their jig, you know, as the char is chasing it up. That's okay, you can do that, but what you don't want to do is drop it. If you drop it below the fish, 9 times out of 10 they'll just leave. So it's kind of interesting. I used to try and do that because, you know, I also lake trout fish, and you can raise it above them and you can drop it and they'll chase it up and down. But char, it's better just to keep your jig above them. So also a lot of times they like really aggressive jigging, so you can, you know, really rip your jig around, and a lot of times it gets them fired up, but that's typically more on like a full moon. So if the moon's low, it's actually better to just kind of do some light little jigs, you know. And lures, for some reason Arctic char just really loves chartreuse, so you can never go wrong with chartreuse. Right now I have a pink and chartreuse tube jig on. And the other thing is, a lot of people use really big jigs and really big lures. I've learned that small stuff can work really good. So I just have a 1.5 inch, really tiny tube jig on, and I've seen tiny little things like this catch near 30 inches. I mean, I've seen a few 27, 28 inches caught on just the tiniest little jigs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I always run a flasher. That's what the upper mark is, the flasher. So it's just one of those battery powered, water activated flashers. So there's a lot of really good local companies around here that make really good fishing stuff for char. So Kodiak Custom Fishing Tackle makes good flashers. There's also HOA Baits, Hooked on Alaska Baits. He's a local guy here. He makes really good lures. He hand pours soft plastics, and he fishes for Arctic char almost exclusively, so his baits are specifically designed for char. So if you're anywhere in the country and you're trying to find some good char lures, get yourself some HOA baits, soft plastics. And if you guys ever have any questions about char fishing, more than welcome to put your questions in the comments, and I will respond to them as best I can. I just had a fish on me. Dang. Yeah, I just had a fish here. He was on my jig, went down, came back up, didn't bite. It was just a second ago. We'll see if he maybe comes back here. I sort of doubt it though. Oh, he hit the jaw jacker. That's gotta be him. Oh yeah. That had to have been the same fish. He was just over on my other jig, and I'm sure this is him. That's crazy. Yeah, he showed up on my sonar. He came up at my jig, didn't bite it, and so I turned on the camera, and then my jaw jacker went off like probably 30 seconds after he was over there. So I'm sure this is that same fish. Oh, that's cool. See, that's why we set a jaw jacker when we're char fishing, because not only does it help catch a lot of fish that you normally wouldn't catch, but sometimes if you miss a fish with your jigging rod, they'll just come over and hit your jaw jacker. There we go. It's a nice char. It's not huge, but it's a decent one. Oh, it's a good one. Fish is doing crazy today. That is definitely a good, decent fish right there. Look at that. Beautiful. And let me show you what that was on. So that is on the HOA baits. Oh, you might not be able to see it in there. That's on a Helgramite from HOA baits. So it's another decent char, probably another about 20 incher or so. This one seems to be fatter than the last one. There we go. Get one good look at this fish here. Beautiful fish. Wow. These fish are just gorgeous. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. Okay, he was ready. All right, let me show you what that fish was on. So, like I was saying, I normally try and have the same color jig head and soft plastic, but I don't have any jig head that match this plastic today. So that is what I caught that fish on. The camera will focus. Focus. There we go. So that right there is what I caught that fish on. Chartreuse jig head and a Helgramite HOA bait soft plastic. So he showed up over there on my jigging rod, was on the screen for a minute. He ended up not biting, and then I turned on the camera and my jaw jacker went on. So another very, very useful tip if you're fishing for Arctic char, set a jaw jacker. These fish love dead stick baits, and a jaw jacker is just a perfect way to increase your chances of catching fish. All right, so I went ahead and moved spots. We actually had some clear skies show up. So the sun's out now. It's clear and sunny, and that typically will push the fish down deeper. So I'm now in 27 feet here with the jaw jacker, and then I'm gonna be fishing over there, which should be a little bit deeper, probably around 30 feet. But I just set the jaw jacker, and look at the amount of bait that's down there. That's all bait fish. You can see when they first started coming off the bottom here, and now, I mean, it's so stacked with bait fish, it's red. So tons and tons of bait fish here, which is awesome. 27 feet, I have my jig sitting probably around 23, 24, a few feet up off the bottom. You can see all those bait fish there. All right, so I got my jigging rod all set up. I'm in 32 feet of water here. Jaw jacker's in 27. Should be able to see it right back there. So it looks like there are a ton of bait fish here as well. So the fact that there's so many bait fish down deep tells me that there's probably going to be some char down there as well. So hopefully I don't have any more audio issues, but I'm going to start jigging here and we'll see what happens. Okay, fish on. Oh. Oh, wow. That was crazy. So this fish was super aggressive. He, wow. This fish was so aggressive. He came up off the bottom and he just chased my tube jig, and I started reeling and he just chased it. We were in 32 feet of water. He chased my tube jig up probably 20 feet. Here he is right here. Oh man, it foul hooked him. This fish got foul hooked. Oh my gosh. I don't know what is up with these fish today. It's like they're on drugs. Well, this fish got foul hooked. However, I know it was trying to eat my jig because I watched it on the sonar. So that one's actually a little bit bigger. That's probably the biggest of the day now. It's still not huge. I mean, I can measure it real quick. Oh, man. 22. I'm gonna go ahead and get a release on it. These fish are just so beautiful. I love those pink spots. Oh my gosh. Look what it did. What the heck? That fish was acting like it was dead. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it there. My work is calling me. I gotta head into work, unfortunately, but it was probably about time for me to leave anyways. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe. Hopefully I can start posting more ice fishing Arctic char videos more often. If you guys ever have any questions about char fishing, make sure to leave them in the comments. And thanks again for watching.